Welcome to this episode of Destination Dare. Every community in the Outer Banks has a story to tell, and this show brings that information to life. From Dare County history to current events, from government services to local profiles, we keep you entertained, informed, and up to date.
The Dare County Regional Airport, located on Roanoke Island, has been a Dare County staple for over 80 years, serving residents and visitors alike. Let's take a look at the past, present, and future of this small but mighty airport. The airport opened at the end of 1942 as Civil Air Patrol Base 16, with the U.S. Navy and the Civil Air Patrol using the facility as a base of operations to patrol and protect the U.S. coast from German U-boats during World War II.
The Navy originally planned to use the airport simply as a practice field. In fact, it was designated NAAS Manio, Naval Air Auxiliary Station Manio, which would just be for squadrons to come practice, perhaps short stays and so on. For several reasons, in 1943, the Navy started stationing squadrons here, so it became a very busy base. And by the end of the war, the Navy had 1,000 people stationed here. At the end of 1941, as World War II was starting to approach, the military realized that they did not have personnel or equipment to fly coastal patrols in the United States. So they very smartly formed the Civil Air Patrol, which was made up of civilian pilots who owned their own airplanes, but were designated loosely as a military organization. In July of 1942, the North Carolina wing of the Civil Air Patrol was activated, and they flew to Roanoke Island, not to this airport because it wasn't open yet, but they flew to Skyco Field, which Dave Driscoll had opened in 1938. They operated out of Skyco Field for the remainder of 1942, and right at the end of that year, this airport opened, and then the Civil Air Patrol migrated over to this airport. They wound up building their own hangar. There were no facilities here yet. The beginning of 1943, all the way through the summer, until the Navy came here and got established, the Civil Air Patrol flew coastal patrols right out of this airport. In the late 1930s, most communities in the United States realized they were going to need a community airport. At the same time, the military realized they would have a need for airports in the impending World War II. This all turned into a win-win situation as Dare County planned this airport, designed it, but then the military paid for its construction and utilized it during World War II. So immediately after the end of World War II, the Navy left. The airport was then turned back to Dare County, and Dave Driscoll became the first manager of Dare County Airport. What's really significant about this little museum is that most of the artifacts in here are all original and used at this airport during World War II. Items such as the flag that flew over the Civil Air Patrol base, the typewriter that was used in operations to type up the daily logs. We have those daily logs from the whole summer of when the Civil Air Patrol was here. They're on display. We have items in the Driscoll room, such as Dave's desk that Dave Driscoll used when he was here. We have the operations table that was used at this airport for many years. We have an end table that was in the officers' club during World War II. The history of this airport is quite amazing and a lot deeper than most people realize. Since World War II, there's been a lot of activity here. And if you visit this airport in the summer, it's just amazing how much you'll see.
The airport generates a significant economic impact for Dare County. In addition to facilitating more than 26,000 takeoffs and landings each year, the airport also supports the local economy in several other ways.
We have about 25,000 arrivals and departures a year. Luckily, the county employs 8 of us out here. Then we have numerous indirect jobs, FedEx, UPS. We have North Carolina Forestry that's here on the field, EMS over across the field. And then it stems right on down into Wanchese. We have Bayless Boat Works, Spencer Yachts, and then we have down in Rodaphe kiteboarding. And there's a lot of employees down there that, so it kind of stems all the way down the beach. I'd say the biggest planes that we get out here fly in for one of two things. Either they're coming in to check on a boat or they're coming in to go kiteboarding. So the airport gets its revenue mainly from hangar rentals and fuel sales. Annually, we do about $200,000 to $250,000 worth of hangar rentals. Fuel sales last year, we pumped right around 250,000 gallons of fuel. That takes in most of our revenue out here at the airport. And we've got other things we do, like rent cars. I think we brought in a little over $110,000 last year in car rentals. Local tax revenue would be somewhere in the $50,000 to $100,000 a year, depending on who bases their aircraft here at the airport.
The airport, tucked away on the north end of Roanoke Island, is a lesser-known attraction where visitors can watch planes land and take off, learn about Outer Banks aviation history, and attend unique family-friendly events such as the annual National Aviation Day.
In August 19th, we have National Aviation Day, Orville Wright's birthday. We like to get something out here just for kids and everybody, really. It's a neat day. We like to do air tours for a discounted price. State comes to set up a booth along with First Flight Society and a lot of local arts and crafts. And we just like to have just a day for people to get out here at the airport and have a good day.
The Dare County Regional Airport is constantly undergoing improvements each year. It has matured into an airport that is now towered during the busy summer months, has added pilot-activated runway lights, and has even more improvements slated for the future.
So 2024, this year, we've got a $2.5 million grant for new airfield lighting, LED lights. It should take about 3 months. And we'll have some new LED lights, new beacon, wind cone, and generator. And later in the year, we look forward to doing some tree clearing to give more safety and space to the landing aircraft on 3 of the 4 runways we've got. And in 2025, we just got a grant to build more hangars. More hangars means more tax revenue. That's a big deal here for the county is getting more hangars. So the airport has, every 3 years, a state employee comes in and he does what's called a 50-10 report. And he tells us what the state would like to see improved on. And they have a ratio they go by A through Z, and you have to do A first before you can do B. So when we get our funded money, it's pretty well lined up for us. You're getting X amount of dollars, but you've got to spend it on A before you can spend it on B. And it's always safety first.
With its significant economic impact, ever-advancing technology, and rich history, the Dare County Regional Airport truly is a gem for residents and visitors of Dare County.
Meet Jim, the sea turtle. He's a little crabby today, and he has some strong opinions about litter on the beach.
I'm a sea turtle. Of course I hate balloons. Helium balloons, although festive, pose a serious risk to marine life. When released, they can end up in the ocean, where creatures become entangled or mistake them as food. Pick it up. I'm a sea turtle. Of course I think cigarette butts are some of the worst things to litter at the beach. They aren't harmless. Their little filters made of plastic break down, leaving behind nicotine and microplastics. And the toxic chemicals, well, they harm the environment. They contaminate the soil and the water and all the animals that live there. And they pose a serious threat to our ecosystem. Pick them up. Can somebody help me up? I'm a sea turtle. Of course I mistake plastic bags for food. Although seemingly harmless, they pose a menace to our beaches.
Don't eat that.
They not only spoil the beauty of our shores, but also endanger marine life that can mistake them for food, leading to tragic consequences. Pick it up. I'm a sea turtle. Of course it hurts to see and feel glass on our beach. Glass, often found on our shores, poses safety hazards for beachgoers and wildlife alike. Broken glass can harm unsuspecting visitors and marine life. Pick it up. As we enjoy our coastal treasures, let's be mindful of our choices. Choose alternatives to helium balloons, plastic bags, and glass to keep our beaches pristine. Leave nothing but footprints on our beaches. Pledge to leave no trace and help preserve this place we all know and love. Together we can ensure our shores remain a haven for generations to come.
So in 2017, three towns of Duck and Kill Devil Hills and Kitty Hawk had planned a large multi-town beach nourishment project. And right before that project went into play, a large hotspot had developed on the south end of Southern Shores. And so Southern Shores took its first step in adding sand to the beaches. Shortly after 2017's project, the town decided that it would be good to do a town-wide assessment of the condition of the beach, the health of the beach, to see if beach nourishment was going to be in their future. And so over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, our firm, Coastal Protection Engineering, conducted a feasibility analysis, a vulnerability analysis to look at the rates of erosion that were being experienced here in Southern Shores and to see what sorts of vulnerabilities there were to larger coastal storms. In 2020, the town ultimately decided that based on the data, they wanted to move forward with the beach nourishment project. That beach nourishment project was constructed between the fall of 2022 and a little additional sand was placed in the spring of 2023. But once that sand is in place, you really want to be monitoring that sand annually to see if you're losing more than you expected, are you gaining sand, where are you gaining sand, are there variabilities along the beach? And so our firm, back in June 2023, we conducted our first monitoring survey. And so we take the data that was collected immediately after the project was built and this data that's from about 8 or 9 months after the project was constructed, and we start to look how the sand that was placed is evolving. Are we gaining more sand? Are we losing sand? And how does that change along the beach? And so this evening I'll be providing the first update of a report on those changes, those volume changes, those shoreline changes. And that process will continue annually as we work into the future and monitor these beaches. If you're familiar with the town, the design from 4th Avenue North is one purpose, and the design for 4th Avenue South is a different purpose. And so for that area to the south of 4th Avenue, we were really looking at augmenting or providing additional storm damage reduction, protecting these structures from erosion that would occur during a storm. And so we added a specific amount of sand that would protect from a design storm, and then we added additional sand out in front of that. And the idea is that at the end of the renourishment cycle, when it comes time to place more sand on the beach, you don't want to have lost any of your actual design. You may have lost some of that sacrificial fill. And so really when we're monitoring that area south of 4th Avenue, we're looking at, have we lost so much of that advanced fill that our dune is now being undermined or our design is being undermined? And so far what we found is we've actually gained a little bit more sand. So that's always a positive story to tell. North of 4th Avenue, the purpose was to establish a wider dry sand beach for recreation, for the ability of emergency vehicles to get up and down the beach. So we really focused in on providing just enough sand to maintain a usable beach. And so we defined that usable beach as a certain width on the beach. And so far we're maintaining that beach at that width, which was the design of that project. So again, every year we'll go back and we'll check that average width and see how that's holding up over time. For this beach nourishment project, the design was not to place additional sand in the dune. The design was just to build this flat, dry sand beach. But anytime you place that much dry sand out on a beach with the wind conditions that we have here in the Outer Banks, sand is going to get to start to blow around. And so the idea here was that immediately after construction, sand fencing would be installed at the base of the existing dune. And once that sand had a chance to start building up and filling in between the fence, the town would come through and start to reestablish vegetation.
The town of Southern Shores has 3.7 miles of dune. I'm with Better Beaches and also with the town of Southern Shores and the Southern Shores Civic Association. Last year we started and we did 1.3 miles of that 3.75 miles. This year it was supplemented by a contractor who planted some grass, but we still plan on doing at least 1.1 mile from Hickory up to the town line with Duck.
One of the other things that we're looking at doing is, depending on the performance of these beach projects, now that we've built a couple of them in Duck and Kill Devil Hills and Kitty Hawk, and we have our first one here in Southern Shores, We want to look at whether or not we could extend the interval between projects. Right now it's designed for 5 years, but at some point in time, if we could go 6 or 7 years, even if we have to place the same amount of fill, that allows us to save costs of the mobilization that occurs every time this construction takes place. So we're looking into that optimization as well.
The town of Kill Devil Hills is committed to taking actions and providing avenues to preserve our natural amenities so they may be treasured for generations to come.
Trash Attack is an annual community cleanup event. Citizens of the town of KDH gather each year and aim to make KDH a cleaner, brighter place by picking up litter throughout our town. Last year, in less than 2 hours, 150 volunteers collected 18 cubic yards of waste and litter. That is equal to about 3,635 1/2 fluid gallons.
As part of the town's commitment to keeping KDH clean, we operate the Recycle Center Monday through Friday from 8 to 4 and Saturdays 8 to 2. It is free to use and open to everyone. While you're at the Recycle Center, consider taking advantage of our free mulch program. The town collects yard debris and recycles it into mulch. Mulch works to prevent the germination and spread of many weeds, greatly reducing the need to use herbicides. Organic mulch also improves existing soil by increasing its nutrients and reduces watering frequency.
Our splash pad uses recycled water. Our water comes from the water tower, comes into our system, goes through here, we treat it again to make sure it's safe, and then we run it out to the splash pad. The kids play in it, goes back into the ground, comes right back here, and we treat the water again so it can go back out and have more fun.
In an effort to help reduce plastic waste and promote eco-friendly practices, KDH has water bottle refill stations in places around town.
The Outer Banks chapter of Surfrider Foundation assigns each Kill Devil Hills beach access to an organization, and that organization is responsible to clean the access and empty the cigarette butt receptacle 6 times a year. We do an inventory of the trash picked up, number of cigarette butts, plastic bags, and report that data on Surfrider's website. This data helps scientists and advocates to tackle ocean trash. You can do your part by leaving nothing behind when you visit the beach.
Every action, no matter how small, paves the way for a bluer Kill Devil Hills. Join us in protecting the town we love by taking a few simple actions.
My name is Frankie Woodley. I'm the Public Works Director for the town of Manteo. Waste collection is the collection of residential and commercial waste within the town of Manteo. We do that twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. Residential is 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Commercial begins at 5 a.m. and is at 1 p.m. During our summer months, commercial is Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, still 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can purchase a trash can or commercial dumpster by visiting Town Hall at 407 Bud Lee Street. $85.40 for a trash can, and then $2,076.27 for a commercial dumpster. It's preferred to use the can purchased from Town Hall because our trucks are equipped to dump those particular trash cans. versus a can not issued requires the operator to manually lift it up, which can turn into a safety issue for the operator. Cans need to be rolled to the edge of the driveway along the sidewalk the night before the pickup. Big items should be placed at the edge of the driveway along the sidewalk within the right-of-way. Items that shouldn't be in trash cans or dumpsters include construction material, hazardous material such as oils, gas, paint, antifreeze, live ammunition, automotive parts, rim and tires together. Residents should be mindful of the contents that are placed in the trash cans or dumpsters for the safety of the town employees. Also take into consideration weather conditions. Putting mattress out with rain in the forecast leads to a very heavy mattress to be lifted up as with big items. From residential households to commercial businesses, please consider leaving a clear pathway for your trash cans and dumpsters to be empty. For more information about the public works for the town of Manteo, visit the town's website at manteonc.gov.
Before Jockey's Ridge became a state park, everyone actually thought it was a park. It was just a big sand dune, and everyone climbed Jockey's Ridge. It was paradise.
Jockey's Ridge State Park, of course, is one of our most beloved parks. We do receive well over 1 million visitors a year, and I believe we're in the top 5 most visited parks in North Carolina. It's thought that the dunes are between 5,000 to 6,000 years old. Essentially over hundreds, if not thousands of years of storm surges, high winds, every individual grain of sand that you see out here on the dunes ultimately rolled up from the ocean floor onto the island. About 95% of our sand roughly is quartz, and then a biotite, magnetite, and maybe a few other additional minerals makes up the majority of the sand we have here on the dunes. Those main minerals eroded from the Appalachians millions of years ago and accumulated offshore, and it still remains today. We are known as the tallest active dune on the East Coast, meaning that the dune or the park is physically moving. Jockey's is really the last of a much larger dune system that stretched from Jockey's roughly 80 miles north along the coast to False Cape, Virginia. We are the last really of that much larger, older dune system, so that alone makes us extremely unique. We have around 530 acres of park property. Just over 50% or half of the park are open dune areas. But then the other remaining portion are our low-lying vegetated areas, the areas where our wildlife seeks shelter. Around 160 different types of birds can be seen here at some point throughout the year. 38 different amphibian and reptile species. We have around 15 different mammal species, white-tailed deer, coyotes, red fox, gray fox. We recently had sightings of river otter on our northern boundary on the sound side. And actually, just recently, one of our critters that has been observed is the bobcat. We, from my understanding, have never actually had an observation of bobcat in the park, and we were fortunate enough within the past month or so to actually capture one on our wildlife camera. We are the final terminus of the Mountains of Sea Trail. This is segment 18. The Mountains of Sea Trail starts on the North Carolina-Tennessee border at Kleeman's Dome in the Great Smoky Mountains. The Mountains of Sea Trail is comprised of a wide range of natural areas from state parks, greenways, trails, rivers, and road sections. Of course, ends here at Jockey's Ridge. One of the challenges of having a park that is an active dune is that the natural evolution of the dune is ultimately to roll over itself. To kind of put things in perspective, in the 1950s, the ridge was around 150 feet. In the 70s, 80s, it dropped down to maybe around 100 feet. And currently our two westernmost ridges, the two ridges closest to the Roanoke Sound, are around 70 to 75 feet. So that is a bit of an example of showing you how the dunes are shifting, the elevation is dropping, but that is what's naturally meant to occur. The challenge is We have private residence and a town road on our southern boundary. So this is an area where we physically have to keep the park within its own boundaries. You can see different patches of vegetation that ultimately create obstructions. Of course, their strong root systems physically hold the park in place. When folks are out hiking, you can see the remnants of a mini golf course. And that is a great example of an object that is standing the test of time, where shifting sands may collect at the base. Other years, it may become more exposed. One of the amazing things about Jockeys in our location right here in Nags Head is we have thousands of motorists on 158 daily. You can simply pull into the park entrance and enter a completely different world, one that you may have never experienced before.
I'm Jason Rigler. I'm a detective with the Kitty Hawk Police Department. I'm the 2023 Officer of the Year.
My name is Will Powell, and I'm the 2023 Kitty Hawk Firefighter of the Year.
As a detective here, I have a lot of responsibilities. First and foremost, in criminal investigations. I'm also a firearms instructor, general instructor, training coordinator, and the public information officer for the department. To be a good police officer, I believe you need to be coachable, work hard, and come in every day with a positive attitude.
I've really enjoyed the opportunity to learn a ton of new skills. The community that they've fostered here at Station 13 is also one that I really enjoy being a part of. And I've also always wanted to be someone that people can rely on when things go wrong. This is a good place to be for that. I think you have to be very humble. It's difficult to be a beginner in your 30s, so just showing up regularly, asking a lot of questions, and not being afraid to screw up.
One of the most enjoyable things for me about working at Kitty Hawk is being the public information officer, engaging with the community through social media, events. Some of the events that we have throughout the year are the skate camp, the youth fishing tournament, and we have several events around Christmas. And we do shop with the public safety officer, and we also do Toys for Tots.
So when I first started volunteering, the way that I contributed was doing all the jobs that no one wanted to do. I cleaned toilets, I cleaned the station, and just moved tools and provided support where needed. I'm now a red tag firefighter, which means that I'm certified to go interior and be much more of a contributor on the fire ground. Pulling hose, throwing ladders, forcing doors, all the standard skills required to be a firefighter here.
I also teach BLET for College of the Albemarle that's held in Currituck County. And it's very rewarding to me to be able to teach and train new officers how to be effective and to be able to survive on the job.
Aside from being a husband and father, it's the thing I'm most proud of. I am not the best at running into burning buildings. I'm not the best at throwing ladders. And look, I think anyone here could have earned this recognition for one reason or another. And I guess what I bring to the table is I show up. Whether it's when the bell rings or a shift needs covered or we have trainings, I really just try to be a reliable body. And I look forward to continuing to serve the community of Kitty Hawk until they don't let me anymore.
Every year this award is given out by the Kitty Hawk Police Department, and the process is unique because it's other officers voting for the officer that they believe deserves the award. So it's nice to know that your coworkers and your peers support what you're doing for the department and the community. Policing on the Outer Banks is something that I love, and I'm looking forward to many more years.